On this episode of Still Loading, we dig through the ditches and burn through the witches. And slam in the back of my Dracula. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Still Loading podcast. I'm your host, Josh Koval, and today on the show, this is an episode long in the making. It's been a long time coming. I have been talking with this guest about doing an episode on this game for quite some time. Today on the show, we are discussing, I would argue, a hidden gem. You know what? It's been a long time since I've done my hidden gem files, or what did I forget how it was. Obscure game files is what I called it. I did a series. I tried to start a series back at the beginning of the podcast called Obscure Game Files, and this kind of fits right in with that. We are talking about the game Sled Storm today, and for those who don't know, that is a snowmobile racing game. And with me today to discuss one of my personal favorite games of all time is speedrunner extraordinaire Gawrit, who is he's the top speedrunner of this game. Gawrit, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for coming on. We've been talking about this for easily like 2 years or something like that. It has been a long time. We did an episode with Cade over the gaming memories, and we talked kind of about your gaming memories specifically, but this episode is specifically about Sled Storm, the game that you have since become like the world record holder for almost every major category in the game, in the speedrunning categories. I can't fucking speak tonight.
You're good.
But so Let's start this off, though. To start this off, I want to hear from you. How did you first discover this game, and like, what are some of your memories kind of revolving around it?
My first time getting the game, I got it for Christmas when I was like 13 or 12. And I remember I played it at my grandparents' place a lot. I think because my cousins would be busy like doing something else, and I was like, okay, I gotta pass the time, and I was like, I guess I'll play the snowmobile racing game. Looks fun. And eventually I realized how difficult it was, and like how hard it was to actually come in first. And I was a very race-oriented kid. I loved like running. I would like be that kid that would set up races at recess, and so I just fell in love with it. Felt like I had to, unlock every character. I had to complete everything that could be in the game. And along the way, I just fell in love with the soundtrack. Everybody, I think, on YouTube, the most like uploaded category of the game is the soundtrack, which is surprised. Yeah, not surprising, but at the same time, like, there's a lot more than just the soundtrack, guys. I know Rob Zombie's great, but I just kept playing it, and eventually, once I've unlocked all the storm sleds for every character and played a little Super Snowcross, didn't have that much fun with that. I just kind of put the game to the side for a while until I picked it up years later when the Games Done Quick came out and started getting popular, and I wanted to see if there was anybody speedrunning it, and nobody was, so I was like, well, I guess I'll do it myself. And it was probably the proudest, my proudest thing that I've like achieved and discovery wise, like finding things that were not known to the public for this game. A lot of skips, a lot of shortcuts, a lot of weird tech that was not included in the manual. yeah, got a little sidetracked there. Where
No,
you said
good.
memories.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I've got a ton of memories of just losing races, like by crashing right before the finish line. Lost Peak being the last track. Has that one bend like right before the finish line, and if you don't slow down like for each jump, you're gonna go off the side. And most racing games, you're not really punished for going too fast. Usually you just run into a sidewall. But in this game, it's just like, nah, you'll maybe flip over or you'll just fall off the map, and then, you're going to waste a good 4 seconds, and then you're going to get passed. So
your racer goes through so much abuse in this game. Like
I know.
Like when you tip over, they fly off that sled like ragdoll.
They bounce like nothing. I've seen my character get thrown up in the trees somehow. Like it's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
though. Sorry, finish what
else do you want to know?
Well, no, I mean, we're just kind of talking right now about like just your memories you had growing up of it, and you kind of you talked about that. You went through how your history with it, and as for me, this game,
what about you?
I first discovered it through my uncle. My uncle loves snowmobiles. He loves snowmobile racing. I don't know if he's ever raced himself, but he would go up to Vermont, in the winter, so that way it was, much more snow than where I'm at. Like, we do get snow where I live, but it's not as consistent, obviously, as up in Vermont. Mm-hmm. So he would like go up to Vermont and go snowmobiling up there and that kind of stuff. And I remember watching him play this game because he had a PlayStation. I did not. He had a PlayStation, and I remember we would go over, at the time he was living with my grandparents, and so we would go over and just beg so hard, like, can we play your PlayStation? And he ended up getting a couple games that were like geared more towards us, like Winnie the Pooh or
come on,
right? But I mean, Sled Storm was one of the ones that we could play. It's rated E. Like, there's nothing like violent in the game. Well, you do run over some animals, but other than
there's
that,
no blood, there's no punching.
Though that sound of you running over the rabbit, whatever it is, the rabbit, it's very crunchy. It's a very crunchy sound. It's
kind of like a pop. You hear like the spine pop or something like that.
Oh god, yeah. So that, I mean, I just remember watching him play it, and what hooked me on the game was the shortcuts. How the very first track, Pine Valley, I remember playing through it, and I was just following the track, and my uncle would be like, hey, watch this. And then he burst through this ice wall, went through a cave, and came out on another side of the track. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't say that as like a 7-year-old or how old. This game came out in...
Sick.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I was probably like... I was 10 when this game came out, so I would have been probably like 11 or 12 when I first saw it. But I'm like... my little brain just couldn't wrap my head around like this idea of like what
that was a wall. You can't go there. Yeah,
I think the reason it spoke to me so much is that a game is designed well when the game accounts for you to kind of cut corners, but they do it in a way where when the player does it, it feels like, oh, I'm cheating the system here. Like, this isn't supposed to be the way it is, but Sled Storm, it very clearly is. It very much is. Like, it's very clearly designed. But I do think there is a little bit, like, the shortcuts are hidden well enough where it's kind of like it rewards you for exploring the maps a little bit. But we'll get into more of that. But that's my memories with Sled Storm. It just watching my uncle play it, being really obsessed with it. I would literally play Pine Valley over and over and over again just because I love the layout of that map.
Did he have the storm sled, or was he? Do you remember?
I think I remember. So back then, I don't think he had it. Actually, oh my god, that's just. I had this memory before, but I meant to bring it up, and I literally forgot about it, even though I thought about it literally maybe 2 hours before we hit record on this thing. When I was a kid as well, like after I had already got hooked on this, my best friend Justin, who's been on the show a number of times, we went camping one time, and we brought It's gonna be a really funny story. We brought his
Oil-powered
PlayStation.
TV.
Pretty much no, but it was one of those campgrounds where you could bring your RV and plug the RV into the electric and also into running water. And I remember even going there. I'm like, this isn't camping, and I'm not a camper, mind you. I'm not good at roughing it. I'm a wimp with that type of stuff. But even me, like this, like wimpy suburbanite kid, was like, this is camping? Like, you have electricity and water. I'm confused. But anyway, we brought out a small tube TV to the tent we were going to sleep in outside. And we hooked up the PlayStation. There's a little power strip. And we were playing Sled Storm. And we were so trying to...
Fun.
Dude, it was so great. We were trying to play through it, and that's when we were kind of like, we got to get through this game. I heard stories about like there's a snowmobile with only one ski on it. I don't, is that, how crazy is that? And we were playing through it like that. The thing that makes me laugh about that night, it started raining, so we eventually went inside and we had to pack everything up and we had to sleep inside the camper because obviously we weren't going to sleep in the rain or ruin all the electronics. But this is a little embarrassing, but I remember we were probably like 12 or 13, and growing up I was a goodie. I still am pretty much a goodie, but I was an extreme goodie. Like, I did not like to do anything that my parents said don't do type of thing. And I remember we were watching a movie called Tango and Cash, which is like this it's Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell, in this like cheesy 80s buddy cop action movie. And there's a scene in it where there's a woman that pops up from the car topless. Like, she's like clearly like fooling around with her boyfriend, and she pops up topless. And I remember telling Jessica, I'm like, you tell me when the scene's coming, because I'm not allowed to look at that.
That's so funny that you knew that it was coming up, though. I would imagine.
When he said it was R, I was like, I don't know. My parents don't like it if I watch R-rated movies.
How do you know it was coming up, though? That's
because he's seen it before.
Oh, okay.
He had seen it before.
So he screened you. He's like, yeah, there's gonna be some tits.
Pretty much.
Just let you know,
dude. Oh my god,
can't handle that. That's so funny.
Sled
Storm and tits, they go great together.
What a combination, right? Oh my gosh, that should have been their advertising slogan. Sled Storm and tits. There's no tits in this game, but fucking whatever. That's. I
mean, it would be a lot better if it was, honestly.
Nah, it's good just the way it is.
That's true. I mean, unless with how great the physics are, and then add some tits, I don't know, man.
Imagine unless it's like Duke Nukem Sled Storm, where. Oh
yeah, it wouldn't make much sense.
No, it wouldn't, but it would be really funny.
It would be funny. It would be an unlockable feature. I would assume.
It's like remember that?
It's in the debug. Actually, I found it.
Remember that
you can have the
PS2 game
topless.
BMX Triple X?
No, I played BMX. I played Dave Murphy's. What is
Dave
it?
Mira's.
Mira's, yeah, BMX. So PS1. That was a fun game.
I never played the BMX Triple X because, once again, like, goody. Also, my parents would never buy that for me in a heartbeat or at all. That's not even a thing.
Characters in it.
In retrospect, what a shitty concept for a game. Like, the whole it's a shitty bike, like, BMX game, and the only difference is that all the women are like naked riding a bike. Like, there's nothing. Like, that's it. Like, there's nothing. Like, what?
I think they probably lost their like main developer guy, and they're just like, well, we don't have enough content. It's like, just make the girls topless. I don't know. They're like, okay, that'll work. They won't question anything if they're distracted. So,
what a ridiculous idea for a game. Oh my god, no, it's so weird. So if you look up BMX XXX, it says it's part of the Dave Mira Freestyle BMX series.
No. It shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't. It's a completely.
I thought it's speedrunning the Dave Mira's. And I saw one guy that has the record. He's the only one, and it's just insanely flawless. I'm just like, geez, like, what? Is this the only game you play? Like, no wonder you have no competition. Like, there's nothing to. I don't know where to improve.
I mean, well, part of it is just like learning it, and then it's one thing from an outsider's perspective. Like if I watch you do a full run, I will have no idea where to improve your run because I don't understand all the mechanics that go into it. You know, like it's one of those things you have to dive in, learn all the mechanics, try to get a comparable run to the leader, and then you can be like, all right, now that I know all the tech, what can I do to shave off a few seconds here and there? But
it's so easy to improve your time in Sled Storm because like all it takes is one crash. Your first run, you'll always have a couple crashes, and then your next run, you won't crash on that track possibly, and then eventually you'll find out that you could take that turn a little sharper, and like you'll just constantly be shaving down time, which is what I love about the game. It's not like you can get to that skill ceiling very fast. It takes a lot of practice to get to the top.
I was going to say, before we get into the speedrunning, let's give the listeners a little bit of context for kind of like what the game is like, what the mechanics are like, what are the different options that are available to the players, and that kind of thing. So like we said before, Sled Storm is a snowmobile racing game. There's not really a lot of other games like it, in all honesty, specifically in terms of the type. Like I think what's amazing about this game is that a lot of times, like sometimes I don't like games that go too far into the realism because I feel like, especially with like sports games, I miss sports games that had a little bit of sense of humor. But I think it works with Sled Storm because snowmobiles handle so differently that every other type of racing vehicle, whether it's a car, whether it's a ski-doo, whether it's a tractor, I don't fucking know, like whatever racing
it's
game.
So unique. It's so unique to its physics style compared to there's nothing else that works like it because it's on snow and you're working with like less friction. I mean, there's different terrains in Sled Storm. You got compact snow, you got powder, you got ice, you got water, and they all affect your sled differently, and you have to be aware of that. You can't just like expect it to be the same everywhere you're going, which is, kudos to the, developers on like putting that in. They could have just like said, it's just like there's the track, race on it, rather than being like, oh, why don't we make the powder like a little it bogs down your sled a little bit. Unless you buy this upgrade, then it won't bog your sled down. So it's really smart.
That's the other half of it too, like all the different upgrades. And what I like is the upgrades, they aren't given to you easily. Like you really have to earn
They're expensive.
The upgrades. Yeah. And it takes a long time for you. Like generally, you might be able to get a cheap upgrade. I guess we'll talk about the upgrade system real quick, and we can go into talk about the different levels and everything. But the upgrades, what I like about is that a lot of times there's multiple levels of a specific type of upgrade. So maybe you get better treads, maybe you get better skis, maybe you have a better engine, and there's usually like a cheaper option and a more expensive option. And so you can do upgrade. So then it forces the player to determine, well, do I want to save up for like the maxed out upgrade that I can get for this? Or do I want to improve incrementally, but then I'm spending money that I won't be able to recoup later? Like you can sell your old parts back, but obviously for a loss. Like you're not gonna.
You get like 25%,
something
back,
like
I
that.
believe.
Yeah, it's like you do lose a chunk of change from it. So it's really up to you. Like, do you want to spend for an upgrade that is not the max so that way you can do better in the next race? Or do you want to see if you can beat the next race without that upgrade and just save up for the best one? And I'll be honest, a lot of times you can usually beat the race without the upgrade if you're good, I guess. But there's tons of different options. Like there's the engine upgrades, there's the skis, there's the treads, there is even cosmetic ones where you can get just brighter headlights, or I hate this one, the tail scoop. Like I get it's a cool idea.
Well, that was pointless.
It's so hard to see. It's so hard to see because it shoots it right into your camera, so you can't see where you're going anymore.
It's only $250 to shoot snow into your face. I don't know why.
It's
just like adding a little bit of extra tread to your tread, and I don't. Oh no, wait, Tail Scoop. It just removes the thing that would block the snow from being launched backwards.
And they charge you $250 for it.
Yeah, $250 to take it off.
You could literally just take a pair of scissors to that shit.
Yeah.
And just
No, I think it's literally detachable on an actual sled.
And they're like $250. I get it's for a game, but still, it's like, come on, man.
I think they just kind of, I don't know what they're thinking with that. There's nothing interesting, nothing useful about it. It's just them, I guess, showing off the snow physics. I don't know.
I don't know either. But there's just so many different options that you can choose from. And then there's different racers, which all have different stats. You would know better than I, man. Do you know for the stats for the different racers? Obviously, they each have better or
I can
worse.
Look through them right now. I mean, off the top of my head.
Well, it's not necessarily that, but do they once you max out a sled, does it make a difference which racer you started with?
No. It matters in the fact that tricks, just because some of the characters can't do some of the tricks like backflips and decade, specific characters can't do specific tricks for some reason. They thought that would be cool. I think they should have done it the other way around. Like specific characters can do unique tricks. There's each character is it's balanced in a way. Like they subtract, you'll have one character that has really good top speed, but then bad acceleration. And then they'll do the other way around, like really good acceleration, but then bad handling. But I tend to go with Jackal, which he's got a decent top speed,
keep it real,
decent acceleration, and then handling and stability and tricks are all really high. They're pretty much maxed out for your baseline. I think only one that has better tricks is Jay.
Oh yeah, sorry, I always choose Jay. That's who I was thinking. Jax is she's the only girl. No, there's 2 girl racers in this, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Tracy and then there's Nadia.
Okay, so Jack, I forget all the different characters in this. I always play as Jay because he always has the best tricks. So I'm like, if it doesn't matter at the end, it might be a little harder at the beginning, but you can earn money faster because this guy can do more tricks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I used to play with him growing up. He was my first character that I used, and then I think I went to Ryan after that and unlocked Jackal. Unlocking Jackal is really hard. If you have to do it, you can unlock him with a cheat code, but if you unlock him through the Super Snowcross, you have to get 250,000 points by the end and get first place in every race. So it's you're over here sweating, doing tricks, and you're okay, they're actually more competitive, rubber banding wise, in Super Snowcross compared to Open Mountain.
Well, I guess we should transition this into talking about the different tracks then, because we're kind of referencing these terms that the listeners don't really have any context for just yet. So since you speedrun this game and you know the tracks really well, just kind of go over what the difference between Open Mountain and Super Snowcross is, and just maybe highlight some of the tracks in each.
Okay. Open Mountain's kind of what the name infers, it's a mountain, you're kind of enclosed in this space that they've made a race out of, kind of like cross country, skiing or cross country running. They don't fence it out. Everything has trees or rock barriers to block off sections, and the shortcuts are kind of off the way, and they're not obvious at all. There's nothing marking that there's over there. Like you said, the one on Pine Valley is the first track, has a big glacier wall. At first you would look at it, you'd be okay, that's blocked off, can't go over there. But if you run into it fast enough, it'll break through and you can take this nice shortcut past the cabin and drop back down onto the track. And there's just a lot of fun exploring on the open mountain to find like the best routes. It's best to like kind of just search around and see what's going on. You don't feel restricted. You don't feel like claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other racing tracks, you feel like you have a choice. You can be like, I want to go to the left side. I want to go to the right side.
It very much feels like open mountains, almost like, for lack of a better term, like a street race, and then the Super Snowcross is like the official, like NASCAR type of thing, where it's like, there, like you said, I think the description you said of it feels more. You feel more free on those tracks. You're 100% right, because even though it's just as walled off as the Super Snowcross ones are, because you're like, it makes you feel like you're going through a forest or going off like around a mountainside or across a lake or something like that.
Yeah, like cross country, you're going into like people's properties or like territories that don't feel like like you should really be there.
Racing here. I mean,
and you honestly, sometimes you're like, the only way I know I'm going the right way is because the racers are like still behind me. And there's parts of the track that I love that like there's no point of going over there, but you can go over there and just kind of look at stuff. Let me think of an example.
Well, I think of like Kodiak Canyon, where there's the bears up at the top. Like there's just bears up on this cliffside. And
a little nice aesthetic detail.
Yeah, and you can get up there. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing to do up there, but you can get up there.
Yeah, they could have easily just walled that off and not allowed you to, but it is. I mean, it's not easy to get up there. You have to do like a trick to get up there. That I'll speak about later. But yeah, then Super Snowcross is more. It's man-made. Like you have like very precise jumps in like very precise heights. They're marked with like spray paint to tell you like how much air you're gonna get off. Like red means you're gonna get a lot of air. Blue is like short jumps. And then if it's not marked, that means they're just like little bunny hops that you're gonna be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you have to be very precise with movement on those tracks, and it feels very robotic. But at the same time, it is fun because like it feels super competitive. Of like you're on a official racetrack, and if you mess up, it's it puts a lot of big dent in your time, because there's like not many other areas of like there's no shortcuts in the Super Snowcross.
Not really.
There's not at all, unless you're doing skips, which is not a shortcut. So and like it's fun in its own extent, but yeah, like you said, it's closed in. It's not very aesthetically pleasing as the open mountain, because you don't feel like you're exploring. You just feel like you're racing. But yeah, that's the biggest difference, I would say, in the open mountain, and then you got closed Super Snowcross.
What are some of your favorite levels in the open mountain? With Super Snowcross, like you said, there's really not much to them. It's like, pick a favorite level in Super Snowcross. They're basically all the same.
Yeah, there's, I would say my favorite, I don't know, it like bounces between like, each one has, I love it for like a specific like shortcut, or I love it for the fact that it has like this type of glitch or skip that you have to do to like achieve the best time. I would have to go with Glacial Grind, probably.
That was actually mine too. I'm with you on that.
Just off the top of my head, it's really hard to choose, honestly.
So I can at least tell you why Glacial Grind is mine. Like, out of all of them, I like all of them for different reasons. Like you said, like Pine Valley, I love just because it's the first track. It's really like the layout is really fun, and there's just so many cool shortcuts. Like there's so many fun places for you to explore, and so much so I've only taken those shortcuts for so long I don't remember what the normal track looks like anymore.
For Glacial Grind?
For Pine Valley.
Oh, no, there's only one big shortcut on Pine Valley.
I know
two.
There's two.
There's two.
There's a couple like small ones, but I remember even as a kid, like one thing that I think really is fun about this game, and I don't see this often with other racing games, which is why I think this one really spoke to me. It rewards you for exploration in a level, and that's not something you see often in racing games because obviously the point of a racing game is to win. You're not supposed to kind of stop and smell the roses, but in this one, it kind of somehow strikes a balance where like if you want to explore a little bit of an area, you can, and you can still catch up as long as you explore during the first lap type of thing. Like there is a way for you to catch up to all the other racers and eventually surpass them.
And then pro tip, if you're so far ahead, racers, you're the other CPUs, not CPUs. What am I saying?
No, CPUs. You're right.
The NPCs. They'll actually take some of the shortcuts to try to catch up. So, and you'll notice that. I remember like characters just dropping in front of me. I'm like, wait, where did you come from? Did you just? There's a shortcut over there, and I would have to go. Like, I'm like, okay, let me scoop around here on the second lap, and then I'm like, oh gosh, like I think the most mysterious one was on Eagle Ridge. That the finishing shortcut. I call it like the snake shortcut because it's like very bendy. But you have to go up a hill off to the like off path, so you can't even see it like from the actual path.
From the main track,
go up a hill and then it drops down into it. So it's just like, okay, like how was I supposed to know? Like,
because it's a ramp that is disguised as a bend, like it's a turn, so the track kind of angles up to the side to kind of like a curve. But if you go straight instead of turning to the right, like following the track to the right, then all of a sudden you launch off, and you would think you would launch off to your death, like down some cliff or something like that. Yeah. But nope, it's this path. It's a really, they hide some of them really well.
Yeah, there's a big like boulder right there too, so like it's very easy for you to like even just get distracted by that and like think that it's blocking the path as well. But you can. If you investigate, there's even like a sign, an arrow that's like pointing you back to the track, saying like the track's that way, bro. Like, but 9 out of 10 times I see like someone that's playing the game for the first time, they never notice that, and it always like pains me. I'm like, you could be saving 5 seconds right now. You don't know it, but I'm not gonna tell them. I'm just like, yeah, you'll figure it out.
I mean, there's just so much. There's just so many cool things about it too. Like there's so much exploration. I really like even thinking back, like the first level, like we talked about Pine Valley. There's only 2 big shortcuts. There's a couple little small hops you can take here and there. Like there's the level the track begins with like 3 short jumps, and if you at the end of the third jump, if you jump off to the left, you can be up on top of a platform. If you're following the main track, it might save you a little bit of time because you're like taking the inside turn. It. But there's stuff like that. But if you don't take that and you go off and then you kind of take the outside of that turn, it takes you to the better shortcut. So there's 2 options from that one jump of either an inside turn shortcut, which most people will see because you can literally see it when you're jumping off that first jump. So you could be like. Most players will be like, I wonder if I can do that. Most curious players, I should say. I wonder if I can land on top of that. And then you do, and you're like, holy shit, the game actually lets you go off the track. It's those moments of making the player think that they're getting one up on the devs, when in actuality, the devs planned for this all along.
Yeah.
And as you play through each of the levels, there, besides the points that you earn, whether it's through tricks or other ways, which I'll talk about in a quick second, you can use those points. They earn you money, and it's usually like a tenth. Say you earn 1,000 points, then you get $100 type. Yeah,
it drops a 0 off of it. So if you get 1,000, you get $100. Yeah,
it's just a tenth of whatever the points you earn is what you earn in dollars. And there's ways that you can earn points that are not tricks. You can just drive headfirst into signs and get 50 points. You can, if you find an ice wall that's breakable, that's 500 points. But the mother lode of all points is the rabbit, which is, thank God PETA doesn't know about this game. They'd make some stupid parody game about this. Because it is kind of nuts that you're just running over a rabbit for 7,500 points.
Yeah, you get $750 for splattering a bunny.
Well, how fucked up is that?
That's so funny that I imagine that there's somebody up on a sitting in a chair, and they release the rabbit on the racetrack, and then they're like, whoever hits it gets the prize. It's just like, what? Wait, I thought we were winning to just race. It's like,
right?
No, you'll get money. You'll get money for winning, but you'll also get money for killing this little thing. It's just like, all right.
I want to. So I'm looking at there's a bunch of different credits for programmers and artists and all this other stuff. I'm looking at the credit for the game, and the lead designer, the sole designer of this game, was a guy named Tony Lee. He's worked on a ton of other stuff. I want to try to reach out to him, just ask him, where the fuck did the bunny idea come from? Yeah,
I would love to know.
What
why?
Out of all of these things, why a bunny of all? I genuinely am just so confused. I think
they're like, we need something small that's kind of hard to hit, and it probably would be on a snowy. I think rabbits actually hibernate when it's really in the winter times.
Do they? I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they don't just run around on top of the snow. There's nothing to eat, so. Yeah. Unless it was a white rabbit, then that would be actually make sense. Be like an Arctic rabbit.
So Tony Lee's listed as the designer credit on Wikipedia, but when I go to Moby Games, I can't find him listed on the game at all. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to start I'll try to find that's the EA Sports Canada. Hold on, let me see if I can find do they actually have who designed it? Oh, developed by EA Sports Canada. Okay, there we go. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to see, does it have a director listed on here? I see the public relations, director of product marketing, all these other things, but I don't see a design lead. I see an executive producer and maybe them. Development director. That might be it too.
A good director is Heidi Ernest.
Eves.
And then Eric Law.
Holy shit!
Developers. Yeah, I talked to one of the art directors. I got a podcast. I got an interview with him. Terry Chu.
Okay.
It's on my YouTube channel. It was really cool to talk to him, and he designed all of the art design for the game and the characters for Sled Storm 1 and 2. He did a lot of the other EA games, I think Need for Speed Underground, some of the big ones. Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that you did that. I'm going to have to look that up on your channel then.
Yeah, I feel like I sent it to you at some point, but yeah, he was really nice. I ended up buying one of the Sled Storm teams, what do you call them? Not jerseys. The BMX long sleeve bike shirts. What do you call those?
I have no idea what they're called. But I guess you would call. They're essentially the jersey for a BMX team, whatever that means. But yeah,
it's usually a solid color. I'll have to send you a picture of it. It's just a solid light blue, and then the sleeves are a dark navy, even almost black, and then it just has Sled Storm logo in the center. But it was only given to the people that worked on the game. So I got it for $125. It's hanging up in my
That's awesome
office right now. I put it on every once in a while.
That's pretty dope, actually. I think though we've been going for a little bit. I think we should transition into talking about speedrunning the game. We've talked about just some of our favorite levels. We talked about the shortcuts, and one last thing actually before we get into, because there was two things in my mind that I wanted to cover still for sure. But one is the controls and how the sleds feel. But I feel like that really ties in with the speedrunning aspect really
that ties
well.
in with the speedrunning.
So before we get into that, one last thing we should at least mention. It's worth noting the soundtrack for this game. We have it has a bunch of licensed music from Rob Zombie. Econoline Crush. I've never listened to
Ecoline Crush.
Is Ecoline Crush? They're from Canada. That makes a lot of sense. I've never listened to them at all. Have you listened to them outside of this game?
Oh yeah, I mean, I put on mostly just from the soundtrack. I've listened to them. I mean, I like it. It's nothing. It's good for racing, but it's not something I'm gonna drive listening in my car or working on something else. It's it's got good upbeat tempo and got that kind of edgy 90s feel to it that all racing games need to have.
I am looking at Ecoline Crush. They have the lead singer is the only consistent member in the band. The rest, they have so many former members. It's wild. Some of them only lasting for a year.
Wow.
It is the strange, if you look on their Wikipedia page and they have those charts with all the different colored lines to show how long each person played a certain role. It's just everything. It's you see Trevor Hurst, the lead singer, and from the initial run, the hiatus, and then coming back in 2006 or 7, and he's still going. But then the rest, it's just this hodgepodge of colors. But anyway, so some of the other artists, though, Uberzone, which I've only group I've actually heard of this is Rob Zombie, and I honestly blame that just because I know so little about 90s music. Easy Rollers, Dom and Roland, I've never heard of any of these guys. But I wanted to. It's a decent enough soundtrack. I'll be honest. Part of that memory I mentioned before with me and my buddy Justin playing Sled Storm while camping in a tent. It became a running joke, but we genuinely like this song. We would only play Dragula. That's it, because it lets you choose the song. They generally have a specific licensed track for each racetrack. And you're supposed to listen to it, but it lets you choose which ones you want to play. So no matter which racetrack we were on, we would always switch it back to Dragula every single time. And I have to say, the lyrics for Dragula are fucking wild. The first verse.
Yep.
Dead I am the one, exterminating sun, slipping through the trees, strangling the breeze. And then you hear that burn.
It's what does that even mean?
I don't know. What does it?
Cool.
Exterminated son. Does that mean you are exterminating your son, or is your son an exterminator? It's describing what your son does. I don't fucking know, because then he starts talking about strangling the breeze. Then the next lyric: "Dead I am the sky, watching angels cry, while they slowly turn, conquering the worm." This
what's the worm?
I don't know.
The worm? I need to I'm sure there's a video tearing this song apart, figuring out what it's. I think it is just trying to think of cool edgy words and rhymes that put together. But yeah, in the song it's a remix. I forget who did the remix. What is it? Hot Rod Herman remix. I don't know who Hot Rod Herman is.
I don't know, but I like the remix.
Yeah, the remix is great. With the conquering the worm, it's conquering the worm. They glitch it. I made a meme version where it just says conquering the worm, and it just holds that glitch for the rest of the song.
I like it.
Ooh. And it's the the racer is just constantly twitching in the sky, on the what is it, the title intro.
Yeah, I gotcha. Did you ever have any like misinterpreted lyrics from this song? Because like I remember as a kid when I would hear it, I would, dead I am the one exterminate. I couldn't understand what he was saying for half of it, but there's some things that would, come in and out. I'm like, I think I know what he says. So when he says the line, "Dead I am the sky, watching angels cry," the way, because he kind of slurs his lyrics a little bit, like "Dead I am the sky, watching angels cry." It's the way as a kid, I knew this wasn't the lyric even as a kid, but it's the only thing I could hear. I thought he said, "Watching it ain't knows crap." I'm like, what? Watching it ain't knows crap. But it's watching.
Yeah, it's funny
angels cry.
The first time you hear like, I mean, you're such in the zone that you're just like, okay, I mean, if that's what he said, then that's what he said.
Well, I didn't even know that.
Especially as a kid, you're just like, I don't really like. I'm gonna make up the lyrics. It's not like I'm gonna be singing this outside of this game.
Well, even
someone's gonna be like, "Hey, that's not right."
Even the lyrics of the chorus, the "dig through the ditches," that I understood. Burn through the witches. I thought he said. I thought he said wishes. But when he goes slam in the back of my, I always thought he went like he was saying yeah, like yeah. But it's Dragula.
I thought he was saying like Chevy lot, like a
Dragula.
Chevy. I thought he was, instead of Dracula, I thought he was saying Chevy lot or something like that. Chevy lot.
This game is fucking wild.
What that was. I didn't know what that was when he was saying it. I was like, okay, sounds cool.
Oh my god, I love it. It's the lyrics are just cuckoo bananas. I'm not going to read all the verses of it, but what? Hold on, what is this? Dead I am. We
can't forget about Sparkle and Shine. That's a good song.
Dead I am the rat, feast upon the cat. Tender is the fur, dying as you purr. Holy fuck!
Nah, that's actually fire. That's fire.
Wild.
He's spitting.
Do it, baby. Do it, baby. Burn like an animal. Burn it like an animal. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
claimed if we don't be careful.
This is the only podcast with 10% more shitty Rob Zombie impressions. All right, I think we can officially move into speedrunning. There is so much tech involved here. I don't know I don't even know where to really tackle this from, like what angle to kind of start this at. I guess just kind of talk about some of the different tech that you incorporate into your runs. Actually, at some point we need to detail the difference between what is a skip and what is a shortcut, because as we know, as you and I had many a debate back when I first started. By the way, listeners, I did actually speedrun this. I guess I technically still do. I just don't consider it because I haven't practiced in over a year, but I still like this game a lot, so I need to get back into it. But I don't know. You haven't
even peaked yet.
I barely started.
You're on the bunny slope still, so that's where I'd love to see you at least beat your score one more time.
I'll try to get around to it at some point. I did play it on an emulator. I might try because I don't have a controller that can plug into my computer right now because it's used downstairs for the PS4, and my other PS4 controller is currently in the shop. So I've been just playing it off my PS3. So maybe I'll just have to do some PS3 runs. I just lose the ability to do save states, which kind of sucks. But whatever.
That's not that big of a deal.
That honestly might be better for me because you saw me when I was practicing. I would rely so much on save states that I would just like...
Yeah, I think I told you. I was like, you need to realize if you make a mistake, don't always press the save state every time.
Or restart the whole race or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's just like, just accept that, you're going to make mistakes. But if you're practicing a specific like shortcut, then that's when, it's good to use save states. But if you're just doing like a full 3 laps and you like barely, you get stunned slightly in this game, if you like you land kind of like at an awkward angle where your sled is not like parallel with the ground, you will your character will have like a stun animation. He'll like kind of fall off his sled and like lose his balance in a way, and that in turn loses time. So you are penalized for like landing weird and or taking turns like too sharp, which is really cool. But yeah,
But
what else?
well,
There's a lot.
I mean, there is a lot to going on with this. I think the first thing to really kind of talk about, though, is just the basics of controlling. Well, talk about the perfect start. Because I wanted to bring that up because I was trying to do that. I was like, I couldn't remember what you told me. I think it's like you hold in the acceleration button while the countdown's going, and because you see the numbers on the screen, you'll see 3, 2, 1. And then go. I think you let go of the acceleration when the 1 is just over your racer's shoulder, and then you hit it right as it hits. They say go, if I remember correctly.
No, you hold accelerate, and then right when the 1, like the bottom of the 1 is passing your character's shoulders.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
accelerate, and then you'll get a huge boost off the start. You'll get up to 103 miles per hour is the max, I believe. But yeah, there's nothing in the game that tells you how to do that, which is, I sheerly found it by accident because I was trying to do a super snowcross track doing a skip category, and like you have to turn around really fast. So if you went off the start with too much speed, it would take longer to turn around. So I was trying to like hold accelerate and let go, before the race started, so I'd go off the finish line slower. But in turn, I got launched, and I was like, wait, what is going on? I was like, is this game, like, did I do something wrong? And like, I swear I let go. But then like I did it enough that I was like, wait a second, this is actually intended to be used.
Mm-hmm.
And I confirmed that because I went into the time trial mode, which is where you just, for just one lap, you can't do a perfect start, as we call it in the community, in the time trial, which makes sense because if you got a boost off the start, your first lap would always be the fastest. So why would,
That's interesting.
You would
I never
always
thought
be
of it that way.
Yeah, you would always be resetting to get a perfect, first, lap, because you get that perfect start. Which makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and they actually like start you like farther back. Like you have to like you can get some speed, so you cross the finish line at your top max speed going into the next lap, but it's not like perfect start speed.
I getcha. Well, so with that perfect start out of the way, though, the handling of the sled is interesting because you have to, like, it's especially important when you're speed running, but like your sled can tip pretty easily. So like when you're going off a jump, you want to try to, like, when you land, you want to try to land parallel, not only just because you it's obvious, like that's what real racers would try to do, but also because what is it, if you dip forward too far, besides crashing, you can also get like it'll slow you down a little bit. Like you'll dip in underneath the submarine, I think you call it, right? You'll submarine.
Yeah, you'll submarine. Plane. You'll go into the course. Yeah, which can be useful for certain areas, but typically it's a thing you want to avoid happening, because oftentimes you'll just flip over and crash. But yeah, there's submarining and there's snaking. Snaking is the tech of your sled can move in every axis, which is crazy. No racing game that I can think of other than, like, I guess drone racing allows you to move your vehicle in all directions. So when you go off a ramp, you can control, you can pitch forward, you can pitch back, you can roll left, roll right, and make those fine-tune adjustments so that when you land, it's nice buttery smooth, so you keep your momentum forward. And snaking is like, you go off a jump, you would hold forward right as you're exiting the top of the ramp so that your nose would dive forward. Therefore, you would land faster to get yourself back on the ground with some traction. And it's used also for like sharp bends. Instead of like slowing down, you can like kind of dip your front ski into the snow and turn at the same time, and it allows you to make like a sharper turn because you're like digging into the map. Those are very tricky because you can get stuck and it can throw you into a wall. So it takes a lot of practice, but if done right, you can save a lot of time and it feels like super satisfying. Submarining is like it's snaking, but you just push a little farther. You basically go into the track.
Yeah.
It's very useful on the perilous pass on the finish line jump. When you're coming off that last big jump and you're going into your next lap, you can essentially avoid that jump by diving through it like a submarine. You just hold forward right before you're about to make contact with the ground, and your character will just like dive through it, and it's so cool to get it. But if you do it too fast, you'll flip over. You don't do it soon enough. It's better to not do it soon enough, and you'll just you'll kind of pop off it, but you won't you won't dive through it like you should. But that tech is my favorite thing about this game. Of like, you can always shave off a few milliseconds if you're able to snake a turn, but use the D-pad in this game, so you're constantly tapping left, right, forward, back, left. Like if you watch some of the gameplay for my speedruns, I have my controller mapped, and you can see like how many inputs are being put in to like correct my sled. It's a constant thing happening. And that's what I like it. There's no dead time while you're racing in this game. There's like very few straightaways, and when you do get them, you're wanting to not you want to limit your inputs, because every little turn you're applying, you're losing your top speed. So you're trying to complete the race without putting a ton of inputs.
And to kind of go off what you were saying about how you can always shave off a little bit extra time. You mentioned before how you want to dip your sled forward because it makes you fall faster, and the when you're on the track, you go faster than when you're in the air. So you want to stay on the track as much as possible. So you have to work on mastering dipping your sled forward a little bit and then evening it out, because if you submarine, you slow down, but at the same time, like you said, if you're going around a turn, maybe if you dip it a little bit into the ground, you can turn faster. So you have to find this balance of dipping your sled both while you're on the ground so you can snake around a turn, or just landing so you can dip down so you can get back to the ground faster, but also pull up so that way you're not just completely crashing or submarining or anything like that. There's a little bit of an art to it. On top of that, it depends on the different jumps you're going off of. Like some jumps, I'm thinking specifically in hardpack, like if you take that one jump off the shortcut wrong where you jump over a log, like, you go off the one jump, it's actually smarter to dip your sled backwards to kind of like put the nose up, because when you because if you didn't get enough air, the tail end of your sled's going to hit the log. So instead of you going forward, you can counteract it. And that's just really cool. That's just like practice and learning the different mechanics of how the sleds control. And as you upgrade your sled, you also get different. As you upgrade your sled, you obviously can get better control of it. You can increase stability. And stability is very important, as you'll find out in some of the more difficult races. But stability, there's also traction, so you can get better acceleration. There's also skis, so you get better handling. But then if you max out the entire, like if you go through an entire, I think it's, if you just do the open mountain tournament, right? If you go through all of the open mountain, you get the storm sled then, right?
Yeah, you unlock beating the Open Mountain Championship, you get the Storm Sled.
Now, describe the differences between the Storm Sled and the base snowmobile. I mean, other than the visually, listeners, the big difference is the base snowmobile has two skis on the front. It's basically what you normally see in a snowmobile, but the Storm Sled, there's only one ski on the front. It kind of looks like, it reminds me of like a motorcycle, but for snowmobiles.
Yeah, and they're real. They're real things. They're just they're just kind of hard to control, as you would imagine. Yeah, the Storm Sled is it's the same speed as a 800cc custom, which is like you have that option when you unlock the Storm Sled. You still have the standard sled with everything that you with the upgrades. It's literally the Storm Sled is just a shell of your winning sled that you got. It's just in a different package.
Okay.
And you might not know that if you've upgraded even if it shows that everything is upgraded. I actually have a video on this if you want to check out. It's the hidden I think it's something with Storm Sled in it. The hidden mystery of Storm Sled or something like that. But I go into, you can make a custom Storm Sled, which the game doesn't really tell you that. You think you're just getting like a baseline, like this is as fast as, any sled can go. But like you can make a Storm Sled with like low stability, which is useful for like specific tracks that need to do specific skips of like turning around super quick. Like believe it or not, if you have low stability means that your sled can just turn a lot easier, but you lose stability and the fact that you could flip over easier. So it's kind of, you have to weigh the pros and cons of that depending on what track you're trying to do it with. But there's a lot to it, honestly. I kind of lost my track.
No worries. I do remember you did a video as well about how if you use a cheat code to get the Storm Sled, it's actually not the same Storm Sled as the one you earn.
No, it's horrible. We call it the cheat sled. And it's basically the Storm Sled that if you play multiplayer, they will have a Storm Sled, but it's the Storm Sled that they give. It's not like the one that you get from the championship for some reason. I don't know why they decided that. Maybe like it's just too much the process. I don't know. But the stability and handling is garbage. You can almost do a backflip off some jumps. I mean, It doesn't allow you. There's like a limit to how far you can pitch. But you can get all the way back and land on your back on some jumps.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's really funny. I wish you could like fully flip
do the full like backflip or front flip or whatever.
Yeah.
I think we can. I think something else I want to bring up though before we start wrapping up is I wanted to talk about just like what a typical run is. Like when you're obviously the routing is going to be different. Or the routing isn't necessarily the most entertaining thing to go over. Like we first take this turn and then this shortcut and this, but more or less like when you're doing a race, what are some of the ideal strats that you go for in almost every one? Like obviously the perfect start, but in general, from what I remember, when you go off, you want to try to stay on the track as much as possible, as much as it's the speediest option, of course.
Yeah.
When you go off,
jumps are
sorry, what?
Yeah, jumps. You're trying to avoid jumps at all costs. Like if there's a jump and then it has like a lower section of the jump, you're going for that lower section, all the time.
Exactly, because it slows you. Being in air slows you down a lot.
You get less air.
And then obviously not every shortcut is created equal. There are some shortcuts. I'm thinking specifically on Goat's Bluff. There's one that's really fun to do because it's a giant drop. Like it's like casually, it's a really fun shortcut to do because it does save you time, just not as much as the others, but it's a huge drop. Like you're probably dropping easily 50, 60, if not more feet. Like it's gigantic.
Are you talking about the one at the Goats or?
I think it's a Goat. Yeah, I think it's a Goat's Bluff.
No, if it's on Goat's Bluff, where on the track?
I think it's shortly after the Goats because there's like after you do the giant launch, after that giant jump and you land.
You go up the left side and then you jump across to the right and then you can jump off from.
Yes, because then once you land,
I know what you're
then there's like those 2 pits on the left and right side of the track, and you have to stay on the track, otherwise you'll.
Yeah, there's nowhere to land off that jump.
Yeah,
and if you do,
go right into a wall. It's not. But it's
like, yeah, you can go there if you want.
It's a really fun jump. It's just like you said, there's nowhere for you to go. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like it'd be interesting to talk about just some of the basic. We've kind of talked nebulously about a lot of mechanics, but in general, like when you're going through, we'll even just stick with like Pine Valley, like short of all explaining all the different shortcuts you go on, but like just what are some the tech that you try to incorporate into every single race you run?
Well, it comes down to which category I'm doing. For the like Open Mountain Championship, like the main like mode of the game, which is my favorite speedrun because you have to do tricks and purchase upgrades. So like menuing is important as well. But yeah, if I was running like an Open Mountain, I have it routed out which jumps I could do tricks, which tricks I want to do off of those. And you have to rotate those tricks. You can't do a trick like I think you have to do 2 other tricks before you go back to that other trick. So you're always rotating, and then there's a good possibility that you will either miss input or just not be able to land that trick, or another trick comes out, which is common, and you have to essentially on the spot like recreate another sequence of tricks. You're like, okay, I accidentally did a decade. I need to do. So that means I need to do like a backflip next. So while you're doing that, you're also thinking of like maintaining, the perfect line. You're snaking, holding forward as you're going off jumps, trying not to like overdo it. There's a fine line of being like, you're being safe to provide you like there's a lot of other places to save time. But there's a lot of ways that you could save a little bit more. So it's that risk of like, more the balance of telling yourself it's okay to like keep this safe here and make sure I get enough height so that I can land this trick. It's more important in the beginning to be getting your tricks rather than getting saving a tenth of a second each lap, because you'll be able to buy that upgrade sooner, so you will be going faster, therefore saving you more time.
Yeah.
So I love that aspect of like when I finish like a Pine Valley with over 25,000 points, I'm just like, okay, that's good. I can immediately buy that triple pipes going into Kodiak Canyon, and and eventually you get to that point when you get all the upgrades that you need, you can solely focus on your the movement, and it's so satisfying that it feels like you're like putting in like work, like you're putting in the hours to like upgrade your sled, and then finally you get it, and then now you're just like over here like just enjoying what you've laborly put into it, as some may say, rather than most racing games. You'd like finish a race, they give you money, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like you did work to get the win, but then there wasn't like that
feedback,
that extra cash. You can make that extra cash in Sled Storm. A lot of games, yeah, you have a stagnant, like this is a predetermined amount you're going to get every time. And a lot of people, I watch gameplay and they just completely ignore the tricks and don't care to try to learn it. If they could just learn like 2 or 3 tricks, they would be like, getting those upgrades a lot faster. And it's sad to see, because it's not that hard, and it gives you one more thing to be doing while you're on the track.
It takes a little bit of getting used to with the tricks. Like I do think the tricks aren't that intuitive to understand at first. I mean, once you understand, it's because like I'll be honest, I don't understand which buttons do what. Now, to be fair, I haven't really like took the time to be like, okay, let me go off this jump. I'll hit L2 and hit right and up. What does that do? Okay, write that down. All right, now let me do a diagonal left and right and see if what that does. All right, and then that kind of thing. Like, I haven't really taken the time to sit down and really analyze what each one does. So it's interesting because the tricks, like, if you don't understand how they work, it can be a little confusing, but if you keep fidgeting with it, it's not too hard to really kind of understand and master and just kind of figure it out.
You hold a bumper and then you press, like you said, on the D-pad. That's the thing with having the D-pad as being the
primary input.
Primary input. When you're inputting a trick, you're not your character's like positioning is not being modified in any way. So when you go off a jump, and if you didn't go off the jump right, and you're facing like an angle that's going towards a wall, you quite often will land, and then there's like a little bit of a delay. Like, you may land the trick, but then you'll have a delay that you won't be able to get your like input directions in, so you'll just go like right into the wall. So there's times
bit of a risk reward situation.
Yeah, and sometimes I've missed input in like too early. I think I'm starting a trick, but I'm actually just steering my sled. And that's really frustrating because, not only am I going off my line, but I'm not getting a trick off. And that really throws you into a mental game of like, okay, like, oops, I need to keep my composure and not get frustrated, which it's very easy to get frustrated.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's hard about this game is that it's very much one of those games where it is, how some people describe a game, it's easy to pick up but hard to master. I think it's both. It's both. It's hard for both for Sled Storm. Sled Storm's not the easiest game to pick up, just because the controls are so the physics are so different than what you're used to out of other racing games. The sled is very sensitive at times and really insensitive. That's a weird way to describe it. It's insensitive sled.
Well, it depends on the way the slope is angled. If you're like turning on a slope, it's obviously physics. The physics works really well. You're not gonna like stay magnetized. You're gonna start leaning like to the direction that you're turning in. So you want to, like I always say, like my best advice to like someone picking up this game is to go with the flow, like straight up like surfer vibes. You need to treat it like it's a wave. You need to go with where it's going, and then if it's taking you this way, go that way, but then like slightly modify. You can, a couple taps can help and not, result in a crash, but don't be, a lot of racers, that's where I see in most crashes, is someone thinks that they can suddenly turn and like save themselves, but it's usually not the case. Usually they just flip over or they get launched into a wall. So yeah, that's my word of advice. When playing this game.
Well, I think we've done a good job kind of relaying a lot of the stuff about the speed running in the game itself. I think we should start wrapping this episode up. This has been really fun for me, dude. Like, I really enjoyed, because it's been a while since I've been able to think about this game kind of critically and just think about the speedrunning aspects of it. So it's been really fun having you on. Like I said, we've been trying to do this forever, and every time you've asked, like, let's do a Sled Storm episode, it was always in like summer. I'm like, we gotta wait till winter, man. We gotta at least wait until winter. Now, when this episode actually drops, it still technically won't be winter. It'll be out on.
It's so hot still. Like, it's November and it's like 75 right now.
Yeah, we're recording this in November. This won't be released until the 18th of December.
Oh yeah,
like a full month away. But
it'll be colder then.
It'll be a bit colder, to say the least. But this has been a lot of fun. I want to kind of wrap this up though with just your, like, because I think normally I say let's wrap up with final thoughts, but I think it's really clear that we both really like this game. We both have a lot of nostalgia for it. So I don't think final thoughts would be the most beneficial for this. We both really, I mean, listeners, if you have not tried out this game, if you like racing games, you owe it to yourself to at least give this game a try.
Yes.
Because I think, Gawrit, you're a big racing game fan in general, right? Like,
I love, I've played so many different racing games. I'm not going to go through all the lists, but yeah, out of all of them, this one's my favorite, like, and I see the most potential, and you could really get, like, super competitive with it. It's just kind of old, and not many people know about it, just because it didn't get boosted with marketing and stuff.
And what's weird is that it's sold well. There's a great, I have my version of the game is the greatest hits version, so it clearly sold well enough to earn a greatest hits moniker. It's the reason I asked before, like, if you played a lot of racing games, is because I don't like racing games. So I do think that my opinion's worth something, because if I don't like racing games and I still really like this, that says something about the game.
That does say something.
But with that said, at the same time, maybe it's just one of those things, racing games aren't my cup of tea. It's just not something that, really gets me going type of thing. So I wanted to check. The reason I asked you is because you are a racing game fan. And if this is your favorite out of all of them, that also says something, because you've seen what others have to offer. Like, you've played a lot of other ones and you still come back to this one and still enjoy this one. So that's our endorsement, listeners. Like, that is, like, seriously, give this game a try. But how I wanted to end this episode is I wanted you, Gawrit, to pitch this game to others to give it a try. Like, if you were to try to tell someone, like, why they should try this game in the first place, whether it's a speedrunner trying to speedrun a game, or just like a casual gaming fan, like maybe not the speedrunning part, because that's obviously like a very hardcore version of the game. But like, if you're trying to pitch this game to somebody to get them to try it for the first time, what would you impart to them? And that's how I want to end this episode. I want you to try to pitch to my listeners to try this game, because I think it's amazing. I think people should try it. But like you said, not a lot of people know it. And then the only sequel this game got is honestly pretty shitty. It's not very good.
It's an arcade racer. It's horrible. Do not. I mean, I have it. I played it. I think I played it for a few days, and I was like, yeah, it's exactly what I thought it'd be, and I'm not going to touch it.
And that
again.
is the PlayStation 2 version. It's confusing because there's two Sled Storms. It's not Sled Storm 2.
They're the same name.
They're the exactly
same name.
But Sled Storm on the
It's
PS2.
like they were trying to bury this one. Like, I don't know why they would be embarrassed.
No, it's so good.
I think
Sled Storm on the PS2 sucks.
It was on a new console, so they just wanted to be like, oh, well, it's a different console, so we could keep the same name.
I guess so.
But yeah, let me give it a shot. I actually have a YouTube video that you guys can check out. It says why I speedrun Sled Storm, which is a really good source to where I've kind of a lot of my talking points. Basically, if you love racing games and you want like extra mechanics that you can improve your gameplay, and there's no BS, there's no like skill there, it's all skill really. There's no moments when I was like, wow, that was really unlucky. Okay, there maybe a few times with the racers messing up in front of me, but it's very slim compared to a lot of these other racing games where you're like, you'll hear people saying like, I hope I get this, I hope I get that. Relying on certain cycles to happen. Not like that in this Sled Storm. And you have fun like knowing, like learning each track and knowing like where to go. You're very immersed. It's very immersive. You feel like it feels like you're actually driving a snowmobile. It doesn't feel like they took a model that had some like physics engine that allowed it to propel itself forward, and just stays on the track. No, they actually are like, let's make this like a snowmobile. I really think they went out. I mean, it's in EA Canada. They got snowmobiles. They researched like how they act when they go off jumps and when they go down hills and stuff. And that's where I see like the art in the physics engine, and just experiencing that and like getting to learn it over time. It's just really fun. And the tricks along with that, there's always something you can add to make the game harder. There's never a moment where it's just like, okay, yeah, I've done everything I can. It's like, well, no, you can actually turn sharper on that turn you just did. It's like, okay, like you're right. And then, there's always a goalpost that you can push forward to get better at. And I mean, that's true for a lot of other games, but this one, I feel like the goalposts, there's a lot of them. And you got to work to get to them. But when you achieve them, it's really, really fun. The skips are fun. They may look intimidating, but they're not. A lot of them are really easy. Even Josh can do a ton of them, and
and I'm bad at this game.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I think it's just intimidating to skip. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's like frame perfect." And there are some really hard skips in this game. If you want to get sweaty, you can get sweaty. But I mean, a lot of it is, it's very easy to get into initially, and playing with friends, really fun. Like it's easy to catch up, and then there's easy times that you can your friend gets a little too cocky and tries to do a trick and crashes, and then you're gonna catch up. It's more of like hoping not to get like an item. Like in Mario Kart, you're hoping to get an item that helps you to get, you push you up in position. But in Sled Storm, it's like I can actively, if I drive really, really smart and I, hit those turns and jumps perfect, and maybe if they mess up, like they don't hit that jump right and they get clipped in and get stunned, I will be able to catch up in time. It's really nerve-wracking and adrenaline pumping to be on that third lap and know that you've been flawless. You've hit every like submarine and snake, and oh my gosh, my heart rate will be.
I can hear your heart rate through the microphone right now.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of like those moments where I'm like, I'm on pace, but if I input something like literally a few frames too early, it may throw everything off. So yeah, it's like the mindset of saying that you're already behind time. You're like, I'm not gonna like this is a throwaway. It's not gonna get a good time. And eventually, I ignore the time until I finish, and I'm like, did I? Oh, okay, I did. It's better not to know. But yeah, I love the game, and I feel like anybody that loves racing games, and it's super cheap. It's like $7 or $8 on eBay to buy this.
It's not
copy.
that hard to get at all. It's a greatest hits. There's tons of copies of it out there. In fact, I thought my copy was dead. Turns out just my PS2 is a piece of shit, and it wasn't loading because I put it on my PS3 and it works fine. Either that or obviously you can emulate it. Of course, do the legal thing and delete those ROMs after 24 hours. Of course, as we all do because we're responsible young men. But but no, it really is a fantastic game. And real quick, just because I teased it at the beginning of the episode and we never actually brought it up, the difference between a skip and a shortcut.
I have a video covering it. I'll try to talk about it, but I don't want to.
I was going to say we can just easily explain it really quick. A skip, actually. Oh man, I'm afraid that I'm going to like butcher it, and we're going to open up a whole can of worms. From what I remember, how about this? I will give my recollection of the difference between the two, and then you correct me on whatever needs to, or confirm that I was right. I'm having a feeling it's the first thing though. From what I remember, a shortcut is anything that the developers intended to include in the level, like a way that you're able to, something that you're able to do that even the NPCs are able to do. Pretty much, I know there's like a slightly more technical definition of that, but a skip is something that was not intended, and it basically involves somehow breaking the game's logic in ways that developers didn't intend for you to exploit either checkpoints or just other shortcuts. Like there's some skips, for example, that I remember, I think you showed me, that don't actually do any checkpoint manipulation, but they are still a skip because you're breaking through the geometry of the world type of thing. That's my basic recollection of it. How close or off am I with that?
A little off, pretty off on the shortcuts things, because the developers, there are shortcuts that I don't think the developers really intended people to do, like the leap of faith shortcut, where you literally jump like from one side of the map to the other side. And it's still a shortcut just because you're not breaking the game. You're just yeeting yourself across this huge valley and you land on the other side. But it's not easy. It's just something you gotta like really get precise down. I'll read it right now. But what is a skip is like it's either two factors. It's the use of a checkpoint manipulation, which is checkpoint manipulation can be done by crashing or clipping into a checkpoint zone, placing your character further down the course that would save time from driving to that checkpoint zone as intended. So say if you like crashed and then it like placed you like 100 feet from where you crashed, that's checkpoint manipulation because you obviously weren't in that area. But it's most commonly used in a method of you cross one checkpoint, crash near the finish line checkpoint, but your character slides into the zone that's in front of the finish line, and then it'll spawn you in front, and then you can cross over with 2 checkpoints. But the game doesn't register it because you didn't cross over the finish line. Your character was thrown into it in a way. And then the second is the use of the wall riding glitch, which is when you can when you clip in between 2 90-degree planes and begin to ascend upwards. That's where, like you said, if you're not actually doing a checkpoint manipulation, you're just simply going up to a sky barrier and then dropping back down and finishing the lap. And someone can say that's not checkpoint manipulation. You're just avoiding the checkpoints. So we had to include this, the fact that the wall riding glitch is, go check it out. Watch any skip speedrun. They're littered throughout every course.
That's why I was saying like there's the idea of like something other than the way the developer's intention. But I think you said that didn't quite work, because what was the one jump that you already mentioned already? Wasn't there a jump you mentioned that like is considered a skip? Not a skip, I'm sorry. It's considered a shortcut even though it wasn't necessarily the intention of the developer.
The leap of faith.
The leap of faith.
One?
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, on Lost Peak.
But even that, isn't that checkpoint manipulation? Because if your body doesn't make it, because you're skipping a checkpoint, right? I guess you're not manipulating any checkpoints.
You're avoiding you're avoiding a whole section of a track. There's ways of avoiding, sections of the course by just taking a different route. Like let's say Eagle Ridge, when you can take that side route to land onto the train track to go into that, the cave area. Like some people could say that, you're skipping those checkpoints on the right, because if you were to crash over there, they would place you in that area. But it's like, no, that's a shortcut, like obviously, because you're not doing anything. You're not crashing and throwing yourself into an area and being placed over there. Yeah, it's hard to tell with like, what did they intend? We don't really know, it's kind of community
your interpretation of it.
Yeah. And we don't want to like, gatekeep of like, well, I don't think they would intend that. It's just like, well, if it's very skill based and something that's like a shortcut, then we'll probably keep it in. We're not going to take something out just because it's hard or like we think that like the developers didn't think about it. But that's the difference between a skip and a shortcut. But basically, I would skip I would stick with not doing skips at first, just so you don't have to worry about thinking about accidentally doing a skip.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, if you go into doing a no skip run, there's no way that you're gonna accidentally do a skip, like, unless you're trying to do some like weird stuff. I think Lost Peak is the only place that I can think of right now. If you didn't make the jump across, you'll crash in on the side, and then it'll place you over there on the other side, which then at that point it's just like, well, you didn't actually make it on that side, so you shouldn't be over there. But yeah, it can get confusing, but
that's why
that should be the least of someone's worries if they're starting their game. I would just enjoy the game, play the Open Mountain Championship, upgrade your sled, get it fast, and learn the tracks.
I also
check out my YouTube channel.
Say, like, check out Gawrit's YouTube channel. I will include a link in the notes, and we will wrap up this episode here. I know we kind of ended on a strange one because I ended like pitch this game.
Controversial in a way.
Well, not really controversial. I was like pitch the game, and then I'm like, just kidding. Talk about skips and glitches, skips and shortcuts. But no, this will wrap up this episode of Still Loading. Gawrit, this was a lot of fun, man. I said it before. I really enjoyed our conversation, and it's been a while since we've been able to chat, so it was fun to catch up. And we'll have to play some more Sled Storm. I remember a while ago I'm assuming you still want me to do like commentary for a race at some point. I gotta get brushed up on this stuff again. But to wrap up this episode, where can the good people find you online? And is there anything you'd like to promote?
You can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's Gawrit Gaming. It'll be in the description below, probably. And if you want to, check out. If you're wanting, I have been doing other games on it as well. Been doing Splatoon 3, but there is the most Sled Storm content to learn. I have tutorials on every shortcut, every skip. So like, and then if you have any questions, you can always join the Sled Storm Discord, which is usually in the description a lot of my videos, but if it's not, you guys can always just ask for it. But the community, everybody that's in the community loves the game, obviously, and
and
get on those slopes.
It's worth noting Gawrit's name on YouTube is spelled Gawrit Gaming. The link is in the show notes, but I always like to just spell it out real quick, so that way if anyone who doesn't feel like clicking into the show notes, it's right out there for them.
Understandable.
As usual for me, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at StillLoadingPod on all of them. If you want to email me, you can email me stillloadingcontact@gmail.com. If you want to help support the show and help others find it, give it a 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts or whichever podcasting app you use, because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and it helps people find the show. And I like both of those things, feeling warm and fuzzy and more people finding the show.
It's just a click away.
Just a click away. If you really like the show, if you really, really care about me, no, if you really do enjoy it, please consider going to Patreon, patreon.com/stillloadingpod for $1 a month. You'll get all these episodes at a better audio quality a few days early, as well as access to a patron-exclusive Discord. For $4 a month, you'll get everything at the $1 level, plus 2 mini bonus episodes every month. They're usually about like 18 to 25 minutes, and they're combination of gaming stuff, as well as I did a couple movie reviews. Like I got to see Clerks 3 somewhat recently at the time of this recording, and I did a little mini review about that. So it's it's a little bit more of a variety of topics. And then at the $5 level, you'll get everything I mentioned before at the 1 and 4, but also a new monthly show called Still Bonding. Still Bonding is my monthly James Bond podcast that I do with my friend Erica from the Monster Madness podcast. And we, at the time of this episode coming out, I believe Thunderball should just be releasing. Either it has just released or it will be releasing soon. I'm pretty sure it will have just released. So yeah, if you like any of that stuff, please consider supporting me over there. It would really mean the world to me. I'm having a lot of fun with Still Bonding, and there's a lot of wild conversations. Each of those episodes are almost 3 hours long, so you're getting a lot of content for your money. I promise you. I promise you. That will do it for this episode of Still Loading. Oh my gosh, and before I wrap up, the Bit by Bit Foundation. The Bit by Bit Foundation is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to put video games and video game consoles in the hands of kids receiving inpatient care at hospitals. So if you want to support them, go to bitbybitfoundation.org and consider donating. And that is all I have for you. Thank you all for listening. Gawrit, thank you once again for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And I will see you all next time.